and welcome back to the Procurement and Finance Coffee Break. I'm here with my co-host Richard, and amazingly
we're in the same place.
We are.
It's been a while.
It has.
Yeah, I love Teams, not.
So today we thought it'd be useful to do a update on generative AI because I think it was one of our first blogs that we previously talked about. AI,
Number 2, I think.
And a lot has changed in a year. In a year. So now we're seeing quite widespread adoption of the large language models. So ChatGPT from OpenAI, and then there's other models like Bard and Claude, and there's others as well as that. I'm just naming a couple that I personally use. So it's advancing rapidly, and there's a lot in the news, Richard.
Go on then, you're going to tell me all about it, aren't you? What? I mean, last time we talked about what it might do, but I suppose it's a good chance to talk about, what it is actually doing.
So companies like Anthropic, who are the sort of developers of Claude, and OpenAI, who are the developers of ChatGPT, are making big improvements and advancements. Right. So you can do things like attach documents now. Yeah. And already some of the larger companies have access to enterprise editions of the software. I think it's only quite large companies. I think only like in France, I think only Total have access to it. Right. That's my understanding.
I know there's been some big changes because even ChatGPT now is via Bing live to internet. Yeah. You can use it to go and that old restriction that it didn't have stuff loaded past, what was it, 2021? Yeah. Gone out the window.
And it's really useful for all sorts of things, even just like as basic as checking how you've put a sentence together is grammatically correct. So for people with dyslexia or any kind of
I never use it for that, obviously.
But literally, so what we're saying is, if you haven't used it, do create a free account and start using it. You'll be amazed at how much it's helpful. It's like having a personal assistant.
Now, I know you well enough to know that you will have looked up a McKinsey report about it. So come on, bamboozle us with the McKinsey fact.
You know how much I love a McKinsey report.
I mean, I used to work for them. She never worked for them.
I never worked for them.
But she always quotes a McKinsey report. Yeah. Go on.
I find it to be quite well written.
I would agree. Yes. Enough said.
So anyway, what prompted me to look at the McKinsey report is there's an article in the Financial Times, I think last week, saying that BCG, another consulting house, had been piloting the use of ChatGPT with its consulting teams, and it found that increased productivity by 40%. So it's actually now mandated or asking its consultants to use it. So. However, we should just say that you cannot rely on the output. It's an aid.
That's a big point.
It's not conclusive, the output.
And also, just so we're complete, not only don't trust the outcome, you've actually got to go and check it. More importantly, just work on the basis that unless you've got a private instance of it, everything you're putting in is available to everyone else. You're feeding the model. So if you're loading client-sensitive data and saying, right, give me a summary of this, probably not wise. All right, okay, so let's get into it then.
Or anonymize it by calling it ABC company.
Yeah, true. You could do that. But look, bottom line, caution. And this is, and I know a lot of companies' policies are coming out at the moment. So okay, right, let's just take this down a bit.
Yeah. So shall I tell you about the McKinsey report?
Tell me about the McKinsey.
So the McKinsey report. So it was published in June, a few months back. Okay. It analyzes 60 use cases across major industries, and it's basically updating a report it did back, I think, in 2017. Right. Where it said. So it says that it reckons it can unlock 2.6 to 4.4 trillion in annual economic value globally, which is currently equivalent to 4 to 7% of GDP. However, that's basically like what it's saying about the current status of what AI could do, but it's extrapolating that, and it says that between 2030 and 2060, which is pretty vague period of time, it reckons by that time it would have unlocked much more, and it'll be able to automate 60 to 70% of work activities that we presently have.
Look, we're not going to take a dig, because if you think back to when we did we looked at the McKinsey report about the future of the workplace in 2030, and it was completely wrong. Not because they'd missed the topic, but actually we'd sailed past it. So personally, I've got a feeling that we'll be undershooting what it can do. But okay, let's just break this down to a few things. If you've got that kind of opportunity, then it says pretty much everybody's going to adopt this, because who wouldn't want their share of that amount of savings? So I mean, look, in your view, I guess, what do we think is going to be the impact in terms of the kind of the proportion of work that goes on inside mainly service industries, maybe not so much in production?
I think it will make lower skilled jobs more difficult to find, because I suppose it's a bit like the impact of globalization and shared service centers, where a lot of companies outsourced their transactional and administrative work to a low-cost center in Poland or Manila or India, and that sort of I would say slightly lower skilled transactional work sort of left the Western world for a lot of large corporates. And I see the same with AI and more automation. So it will change how we need to train our young people, I think.
Right, I've got some really mixed feelings about this. Right, so when we were talking about, or when the world was talking about AI maybe 4 or 5 years ago, there was a view that it would eliminate from the bottom to the top lower skilled jobs. So legal companies, paralegals would go. All that research into documents would disappear. Consulting, analysts, research people who go gather facts. Why do you need that if you've got AI? The thing that I wonder is whether actually it's not so much about whether you can find jobs for low skilled people, but actually low skilled people equipped with AI suddenly become quite skilled people.
Yeah.
So there is a part school of thought that says actually your ability to conduct actually quite capable research or summarizing a document or all the stuff that pretty much every business needs, you're actually broadening the talent pool, because you can now get people that previously couldn't do it can now equip with a tool like AI.
Yeah.
But I guess the thing, and this has come up a lot in conferences about, how quickly companies are going to adopt this, right? And I know, McKinsey, the wonderful McKinsey report said, whatever it was, 60, 70%. But it's not just about saying, right, that's there, I can adopt it, off we go. It's not like getting a new laptop or something, or a new photograph.
No.
We're talking about something where people genuinely don't understand what's going on. It's not like an engine where you can lift the bonnet and say, oh yeah, that's...
Well, I think what we'll see in the next 18 months to 2 years is it being quickly embedded in all the standard products like Microsoft Office. So we're already seeing it sort of embedded in Teams and Bing. Soon it is going to be in Outlook, where you draft an email and you can ask, can you reword this email for me, and you'll just press a button and it'll do it for you. It'll suggest a rewrite, something like that. I see it that SAP are pouring billions into it. I see it's going to be in ERP systems soon. So I think it will be more that at the moment they're like tools that you go into, and they're kind of a bit like a personal assistant. But soon I'll see that personal assistant embedded in all of the standard tools that we use, all the office tools, Outlook, like everything you use for office work.
I totally agree. And if I think about my most hated thing to do, it's writing up minutes of meetings. Right, hate it, and you just don't need to do it anymore. I mean, you can literally use an AI recorder like Otter or Firefly. I mean, there are many out there. you can take your output. In fact, they're building the AI into the tool now that you can summarize it. But even if your tool hasn't got it, you can record it. You can load it into the AI and say, right, give me a summary in the form of an email to go to such and such in order to achieve this purpose. And voila, first draft done.
Some versions of Teams that I've used already do a transcript of it. So it's just like one step further to then be able to summarize that transcript.
So here's the thing, and I guess, look, for me, the big question is, right, what does it mean for future employees? And I guess where I'm at is, if you take, for example, let's say we're on McKinsey, let's say a business analyst, right, starting their career as a consultancy. Traditionally, you would have taught them problem solving techniques, you would have taught them communication techniques, you'd have taught them research techniques, you'd have taught them how to do flipping PowerPoint and how to produce beautiful messages, right? And I think pretty quickly we're going to be in a world where a junior consultant who's got to solve a problem can just say to the AI, right, give me a slide deck of 6 slides that draws out the key points of this problem. Think, right. So they can do that. So anybody could now be in theory. But so how do you train someone to be able to think critically about what the AI is giving them?
I think you'd have to. So obviously that assumes you've trained the AI in how to produce a good slide, because it's not just about spitting out loads of text. Like, for example, McKinsey and BCG and all the consulting houses have a methodology of how they present their slides. There's an art to the consulting slide. It's like a header of what the main subject.
But do we honestly think it's going to take that long for AI to work out how to do it?
No.
Look at these other 10 decks. Learn the style and go do it. I mean, it's coming. If it's not here already, it will be here. So if you're a young consultant and you've now got an AI that can do all of the stuff that previously was hours of pain and misery, and you ask the AI to produce it, I would kind of want that consultant to then think critically about whether it was right. So how do you do that?
So that's where I fear that you can only do that from experience, because, for example, I've used ChatGPT to help me produce like an analysis tool, basically. I wanted an analysis tool for a treasury function, and I had them for other finance functions. So I drafted it for treasury, but I wanted it to help me beef it up a bit. Because we'll say treasury is massively my strength. I've kind of got some experience in treasury.
You said it was in the previous coffee breaks.
Not massively, but a fair experience. So I thought, I'll use ChatGPT to help me consider whether what I've put is complete. And some of the things it said for a very mature treasury function were just not true. And when I said, you said this, but actually, as far as I know, the leading functionality for that is in SAP, and this SAP only does this and this currently. Are you saying functionality actually exists in the market today? It was like, oh no, I was being optimistic. I extrapolated. I was like,
well, this is a key point. It's about the instinct of the idle, and I include myself in that, is to you've left something to last minute. You use an AI tool to help. You take it, you run, you grab, and you just. And you don't check it. And I think you're right. I think that how do we combine experience and knowledge with the horsepower of an AI that can generate new content?
Because don't forget, these large language models, they're basically very clever algorithms that are predicting one word based on the last word. So it's not actually thinking the way we think, and from our hands-on experience. So it needs to be a blend of the two.
I know. Those science fiction freaks out there will be wondering quite where the line is. All right, we're out of time, but look, great topic. The point is productivity. There is a ton of stuff that you can do now that's low risk, and as long as you check it, can seriously improve your ability to get things done. And I mean, if you haven't tried it, just spend an hour or so watching YouTube on how to use ChatGPT to create spreadsheets or draft emails or whatever else. Anybody can watch how to do it. It's super easy, and it really does improve, your ability to get things done. But it's not secure unless you've got your private instance on a private servers, which some companies have. So don't go loading sensitive or client information on it. And secondly, it isn't always right. And it says it at the bottom in the small print.
It does.
But busy people tend to forget small print. So just remember, check it and see whether it's right. I mean, there's a great example, of a lawyer in the US that used it to generate previous case law to use in court. And the cases that ChatGPT had come up with were utterly fictitious. It had just made them up to illustrate. So you have to check.
Yeah.
But on that note,
yes,
good to chat about AI again. We're going to be back at this again. Probably.
Well, it's moving so quickly, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yes, I would encourage you, if you haven't used any of the large language models, just have a play around with them, and you'll be surprised about how useful it can be to just help you with very simple tasks.
Absolutely. But for now, from both of us, bye-bye.
Bye.